live in Houston, Texas. Darren, great to have you on, as always. We'll come to Joe Biden and what he plans to do about gun laws in just a moment. But I suppose for the people of Uvalde, the next stage of the grieving process starts today.
Exactly, Aaron. Today was a very somber day. 11 of the children and one of the teachers, they're being buried in funeral services this week. 2 of the children are being buried today. 10-year-old Maite Rodriguez. She is described as a smart, bright, beautiful, and happy girl, dreamed of being a marine biologist. 10-year-old Amarillo Garza is also being buried today. She was described as a kind, caring, loving, sweet, sassy, funny, and wanted to help everyone else out. And the one teacher being buried today is Irma Garcia. She taught in the district for 23 years, and her nephew said of her, she sacrificed herself protecting the kids in her classroom and died a hero. But even though these services need to go on for the grief and the healing to take place, it comes as the Uvalde Police Department is being scrutinized for the way they handled this flawed response to the shooting a week ago. In fact, the police chief admitted that he thought that this was a barricaded situation versus a armed gunman situation, and that's why the police department waited more than an hour to go in. In fact, the Texas Department of Public Safety said that this was the wrong decision, that clearly there were kids in the room, clearly there were kids at risk, and they were even calling 911. And today, State Senator Roland Gutierrez of San Antonio went a step further. He said of the Chief Pete Arredondo, he's taking a lot of heat for sure, but I think that every agency should be taking heat. Quote, active shooter protocols say you go in. We are putting it all on the local cop with 6 cops beneath them. Now, the U.S. Department of Justice is also reviewing the local law enforcement response, and Gutierrez said of that, I want to know when each officer was there from whatever law enforcement agency and where they were situated. And he questioned the jurisdictional protocol of who should go in, saying that, we had state troopers, we had federal government agency officials, and he said this is what it ended up happening. Finally, one said, to hell with it, we're going in. And he's referring to that Border Patrol agent who took it upon himself to go into that school without any backup. He got shot in the process, but he is the one who killed that gunman. So again, it's a mix right now. It's trying to find that grief and that healing for the community, but also holding the police department and the law enforcement agencies accountable for what happened last week, killing 21 people.
And, during his visit to Uvalde over the weekend, President Biden was urged by crowds to do something in relation to gun restriction laws, and he replied, we will. But he must even realize how difficult that's going to be in a country that's so divided about gun laws, and particularly where you are in Texas.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, Aaron. Unfortunately, gun laws are very polarizing in the United States, and in Texas, they have some of the loosest gun laws. Here in Texas, you only have to be 18 to purchase a rifle or a shotgun. In this case, the 18-year-old gunman was 18. He purchased them legally. And in Texas also, you only have to be 18 to carry them. So he legally bought them. He legally carried them. The handgun that he had, he was supposed to be 21 to purchase, and that's part of the investigation of how he got that handgun. But regardless, he had 2 assault-style weapons and went into that school. And President Biden is pushing for those gun safety regulations, as you mentioned, and he's actually meeting with a bipartisan group of lawmakers this week with the Senate, and he's hoping, because Republican Senate minority leader Mitch McConnell said he wants Republican lawmakers to work hand in hand with the Democrats to come up with these laws, whether it be age limits, whether it be background checks, whether it be the amount of time someone is supposed to wait until they can receive the gun that they purchase. So yes, it's definitely a situation which Republicans and Democrats have to work together, and in this country, especially over the past 4 to 6 years, that has not happened very often.
Darren, thank you very much indeed. That's Darren Lyn there, joining us live from Houston, Texas.